In this podcast, we're going to cover a practical example of creating attributes and using set-driven keys. So to start off with, we have this little character here. He has his head controls, and you can see where I can move the character's mouth opened, make him look. But I want to make his ears controls, and I want to add controls to his ears. I mean, I very much can make FK controls for his ears, but they're going to get kind of cluttered with the system. And they're only going to be rotating in one direction, back and forth, not up and down, side to side, or rotating around. So I have custom attributes left and right ear, and I can click one, and I can see when I middle mouse drag it back and forth, his ears will actually open and close. This is very simple prop rigging, so I can make him flap like that. Okay. So our first thing is we're going to have to create these attributes. Okay, so here's the scene. Now, I'm selecting on the control for this head. I'm going to say edit. You notice it doesn't say set driven key, but I'll have to go into add attribute right now. And I'm going to make two attributes. I could make a separator here, but I'm not going to do this since it's only two attributes. I'm going to say left underscore ear. This is actually going to be a float. And I am going to put a minimum -10, maximum 10. When I normally do SDKs, I do minimum and maximums. So I say add, and then I'm going to say right ear underscore ear. I'm going to say -10 and 10. You might say why -10 and 10? -10 will be the ear completely open, and 10 will be the ear closed, or vice versa. I think I actually did the other way around. So I said okay. So I have my attributes. So that's going to be the ears completely open. That's going to be the ears completely closed. So pin backed, completely closed. So let's put these both at 0. Okay, so now we did do an SDK. Now you notice in edit, my set driven key is there because I do have an attribute selected. So you have to have at least one attribute selected. I gotta click on set driven key. Okay. So I'm going to show my X-ray joints. So our driver is going to be our head box. It's going to be your left and right ear, but first it's going to start with left ear. Now my driven are going to be these two joints, my left followed by my right ear. So on my left ear, I got to see what is my axis I'm going to put these on. And it's actually going to be rotate Y. Most likely it's the same thing on this side too. Oops. Yeah, it's rotate Y as well. Okay, so that's my left ear. That's this guy. So I'm going to, and it's rotate Y. Yes. Rotate Y. So I'm going to select my head box, and I'm pretty much at my default value 0, and my ear is at its resting point 0. So I'm going to say key, and we can select it and see there is a keyframe on it. Now we're going to move our driver attribute, our left ear, to 10. Like I said, I'm going to have these pinned back, and this is completely up to my choice on it. So now that I moved my driver to 10, I'm going to move my driven, and I'm really going to push it. I know it's like that's kind of ridiculous on it, but you never know how far the animator needs to push your animation. So they're both selected, the left ear and the rotate Y. I say key. Now I select my head, and now when I middle mouse drag it, you'll see the ear starts to come around. So I'm going to go all the way to -10, select his ear, and I say key. Boom. We can check that out to make sure it works. See? There we go. I'll do this on the other ear. Now you might ask, can I mirror this on the other side? You can when you start doing direct connections. You can start duplicating nodes or redirect animation on here. Let's go to right ear. Right. This is very easy to make mistakes on the wrong object to set keyframes on, and it can be really hard to find that. So eventually you'd have to go back in the graph editor and delete the keys manually if you did that. So I'm going to say key here because they're both at rest. Say 0 and 0, key. And then I'm going to move my ear to 10. That's going to close it. I was mentioning, duplicating. Normally I do more coding to duplicate it right, because you can copy values and change them and things like that. But normally on the other side of the body, the attributes the values are inverted, so that can cause a problem. So let's check our values. 10, and our ear is expanded, everything's selected, say key, Good. Let's select the head box and go to -10. There we go. And I'm kind of eyeballing these values, yes, and I would, if this is a final rig or a professional rig, I would go in and make sure the values are exactly the same. But this is just just messing around. So I'll just mailbox drag these to both the -10, 10, 10, and they're working. So there's a good practical example of using set-driven keys and attributes. Like I said, it doesn't have to be just a character's ears like this. You can rig his whole face like this to have his eyebrows move up and down, have skin follow that, have one object drive another object. So when the attribute moves up, it can move like his joints for his eyebrows, but then it can move like another joint that has like skin pulling and things like that. So it gives you a lot of different possibilities.